It's been 1 week since the Indian Parliament passed the Citizenship Amendment Act. The protests are growing and the world is watching. Take a look at this photograph now. These are Tuesday's front pages of America's three largest newspapers, the Wall Street Journal, the Washington Post and the New York Times. Three very big newspapers, well known, same story, same photo. Cops in Lucknow trying to stop a crowd of student protesters. It's incredible how America's top newspapers are all interested in an event happening thousands of miles away when their own president faces impeachment. That should tell you how big this protest is and how much the world is talking about it, if you did not know that already, that is. It's news and it should be covered by all means. The problem is the bias. Let's start with the Wall Street Journal. The headline says, Muslim protests spread against India's new citizenship law. While the newspaper has a comprehensive report inside, the headline is misleading. Citizens of India are protesting, people of all religions. To brand this as a Muslim protest is wrong. The New York Times had a more provocative take. I'm quoting, India erupts in protests as Modi presses his vision for a Hindu nation. The government and its spokespersons are sparing no effort to say India's Muslims have nothing to fear, but it's losing the war of narratives. Ill-informed opinion and political spins are not helping India's case. And China was quick to take this up. Yesterday, the People's Daily of China carried this piece. Using democratic India to justify the repressive dictatorship of China, the paper argued that since India has shut down internet in some areas, it is totally fine for Beijing to curb and censor the internet in places like Xinjiang, a region where Uyghur Muslims are being persecuted. China says India's actions show that internet shutdowns are a regular practice of sovereign nations. I'm sure South Bloc would not like to be bracketed with Beijing on human rights, but that's how it is right now. Then comes Pakistan. The whole world is speaking. We'd be worried if Pakistan remained quiet. Imran Khan is doing what he does best, adding to the confusion and chaos. He was in Geneva for the first Global Refugee Forum. He chose to speak about India's Citizenship Act and the National Register of Citizens, the NRC. He claimed that millions of Muslims could flee India. It could even lead to a nuclear war. Such bluster.
We in Pakistan are not just worried that there will be a refugee crisis. We are worried that this could lead to a conflict between two nuclear-armed countries. In Assam, the government has passed a Citizen Registration Act. What does that mean? That means that every citizen has to prove their citizenship. Along with this act, there is another law just recently passed that from Pakistan, Afghanistan and Bangladesh, any minority that is persecuted can find citizenship in India. We in Pakistan stand to suffer. As it is a country that is hosting 3 million refugees, a country which is trying to develop its own human beings, provide them the basic necessities, our country will not be able to accommodate more refugees.
Develop its own human beings, he says. The Pakistani Prime Minister called the National Register of Citizens Citizenship Registration Act. And then he went on to lecture the world about its consequences. Also preaching India, by the way, is Bangladesh, another neighbor, condemning the Indian government's decision. Remember, two Bangladesh ministers had cancelled their visit to India a day after Parliament passed the bill. The Indian Ministry of External Affairs said that the two developments should not be linked, but the government of Bangladesh is not leaving much to imagination. They're slamming India in so many words. Listen to this.
যদি কোনো আমাদের নাগরিক জেনুইন বাংলাদেশী নাগরিক ইললিগালি ভারতবর্ষে আছে তাহলে আমরা তো ওদেরকে ফিরিয়েই নেব কিন্তু সেটাকে প্রমাণ করতে হবে our secular plural society is our great pride আমাদের সবচেয়ে বড় প্রাইড হলো আমাদের secular plural society আমাদের দেশে হিন্দু মুসলমান খ্রিস্টান বুদ্ধিস্ট কে নিয়ে আমরা কোনো ডিফারেন্সিয়েশন করি না
Can India say this anymore? America too had advice for India. Here is what the US State Department said in a statement. I'm quoting, "We are closely following developments regarding the Citizenship Amendment Act. We urge authorities to protect and respect the right of peaceful assembly. We also urge protesters to refrain from violence." This came just before the 2+2 dialogue between India and America. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar and Defence Minister Rajnath Singh are in Washington for this dialogue. A statement before the meeting is being seen as an attempt to build pressure on India. Even the United Nations had a statement.
We are concerned about the violence and alleged use of excessive force by security forces that we've seen that have been taking place in the protests against the Citizenship Amendment Act. We very much call for restraint and urge full respect for the rights of freedom of opinion and expression and peaceful assembly.
You see, everyone is talking and the list of comments is long. The gist is this: we are watching what India is doing and we do not have a very favorable view of it. Now, we in India could say that it's none of their business, but that's missing the point. Yes, it is in India's internal matter, and yet it affects India's global image. When your secular credentials are under a cloud, it undermines India's moral authority. The government is losing the battle of narratives both at home and abroad. And there is only one way to win. Set your house in order, resolve the crisis, reach out to the protesters, puncture the vested political interests, restore peace.